to my kitchen. It's a hot, almost summer day. I have fruit, I have flour. I'm gonna ask Alexa what I should make. Alexa, what should I make with peaches and flour?
I recommend award-winning peaches and cream pie. 3 hours, 30 minutes to make. What would you like? Start recipe.
Start recipe. So Alexa's gonna have me make peach and cream pies. But I'm gonna twist it up a little bit. I'm gonna make hand pies. They're a lot more versatile to eat. You can take them to the park, you can take them outside, you can even take them on a hike. So that's what I'm gonna do. So join me on my hot kitchen day, and I'm gonna make peach cream pies. So you have to keep everything as cold as possible. If your kitchen is warm, do it first thing in the morning, or freeze all the pieces that you can. So I have my 2 cups. I'm adding my last half a cup of all-purpose flour, and flavor I'm going to add half a cup of sugar, some brown, some white. It's up to you, and you can even leave that out. I'm going to add about 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Going to give that, and now I'm going to add my cold butter, right? Cold, it has to be cold, and I cut it into small cubes, which just helps it incorporate a little bit quicker. Now I'm pulsing. We'll try that again. I don't have my insert. I'm gonna pulse. And I'm pulsing just to kind of get sand. It's literally is gonna look like sand, and you only need a few pulses. Now I'm taking my ice cold water. I have ice in here. It's half a cup. I put half a cup of water and then I put my ice in it. So, and this is actually a measurement that might change. It might be more, it might be less. It depends on your flour and all of your weather. So I'm going to this on, and I'm going to slowly add the ice water, and I'm going to add, and the dough will tell me when to stop. I'm going to add it till it starts coming together. That's it, it's come to a ball. Now I'm going to take this out. Because the problem with what we always call the absolute best instruments in the kitchen are your hands, not for pastry. They're the worst instrument in the whole kitchen for pastry because we're so hot. And the last thing this dough needs is heat. You want to keep everything as cold as possible. Again, if you have a cold or if you have a hot kitchen, I would tell you to pop it in the freezer every chance that you could get. So now I'm going to try to be smart about this. I'm going to see it came out into a perfect dough. I don't want to touch this. So I'm going to wrap 2 equal parts, and I'm going to pop it, you guessed it, into the freezer. Yeah. This dough, you have to be so careful. If it's hot outside like it is in my place right now, you have to work really quickly. The best solution is you leave, after you bring it out of the machine, you package it into smaller, almost pan pie size amounts, put it in the freezer or refrigerator. Freezer if you want to do it quick, refrigerator if it's going to take a while, and only bring them out as you're doing it. And you have to move really quickly. So I already have my oven preheating at 400. I've done 2 pies, and I am now going to do these next 2 pies. This dough only probably does about 6 pies, but it's a lot of work, but it's not a lot of work, it's just like there's a lot of steps that you have to do. Alright, so I am putting in the middle of my pies peaches. So my best friend, she and I have known each other for 30 years or some crazy amount of time, and she gave me some peaches that I cooked up with pectin and made like a freezer jam. And I wasn't really eating the freezer jam as fast as I thought I would, so I thought it'd be a perfect way to make hand pies. I just put the fruit right in the pie. It's not a super sweet filling, and I can add a little bit more sugar if I wanted to, or less, or add some more spices, whatever I wanted to do. So I kept my pastry dough right on the cling wrap that I actually put it in the refrigerator freezer with, and that actually helps me fold them, because the whole goal is to try not to like touch the dough a whole lot. You just don't want to do that. So I'm trying to use as much other assistance that I can, and now I just take my fork and seal the edges. And you know, these are hand pies. These are homemade pies that I'm doing here right at home, and so they don't look exactly perfect, but they're going to taste amazing, and that's half of the battle. And so I'm shaping them into like a moon, half moon. Well, my camera decided to go kapooey, so I took the chance while I was doing what I need to do, and I finished the pies. But I had to put these back in the refrigerator because you have to get these cold. They need to go into the oven cold. But I'm not quite done yet. There's a couple different things that you need to do. You need to make little slits in the top so they don't explode in the oven. Right on top, just a little hole. And we all saw this on the old McDonald's pies. Remember those fried McDonald's pies that some of us grew up with? I'm not sure if my daughter ever had a true fried McDonald pie, because I'm not sure when they ever went away. But I guess there's only one place in California that you can actually get a real fried McDonald's pie. I don't know why I'm talking about that. But anyway, so I have made my little slits in the top of my pies, and this is going to allow the steam to escape. And now I need to dress my pies, because they're a little naked right now. And there's a couple ways that you can do this. You don't have to do this step at all if you don't want to. But I'm going to brush with some butter right on the top. And I'm going to, there's a couple different ways that you could do this, but I'm going to sprinkle with a little bit of sugar. And this is going to really kind of caramelize and meld into that. And a little bit of pie spice. A little bit does go a really long way, so I'm not going to put a ton on there. If you want to try to reduce a few calories, you could use like a coconut cooking spray, and you could just spray that on the top, and you don't even have to put any sugar or anything on if you don't want to. I'm going to put a little bit. That will also help it make it stick. Again, I didn't put that much. And just a beep beep on that. You can leave them plain if you want. You could also do an egg wash, or you could do like cream or butter, whatever. But putting something on the top really does kind of help them become uniformly brown. All right. So now that I have my pies all dressed, they're going to go into a 400-degree oven for 25-28 minutes. And so I'll be right back. While my pies are baking, I wanted to give you a couple of tips that I have kind of learned along the way in making these pies. And this really goes for almost any pie dough recipe. I want to keep everything cold, and you want to use as little flour as possible. I have a metal roller. I put this in the freezer in between rolling out the pies with all butter in my dough. For the fillings, you can do anything you want. Like I said, I use peach because I had a bunch of peaches from my friend. You could use jelly. You could make them smaller. You could use any other frozen fruit that you have. Hot filling in a cold tart shell will make it a mushy mess. And the last step I did is I threw my pies in the refrigerator for about 10 or 15 minutes after I've rolled them all out and filled them, just because I wanted to make sure that they were not going to break apart in the oven. My pies are out of the oven and they look absolutely amazing. They are just slightly golden brown. They're gorgeous. They're way too hot to taste, darn it, but they look absolutely gorgeous. And I'll tell you, they smell even better. Thank you for subscribing, and thank you for coming by once again to see what I'm baking in my kitchen. It's always fun to ask Alexa what's for dinner. So,
I don't know, but I'd suggest something healthy and nutritious. By the way, you can always ask me for nutritional information such as calories, protein.
Branch is recording.
So thank you so much for joining me on this 2-day trek. It started with Alexa telling me to make peach and cream pies. I had to make the dough from scratch, very yummy. I had the peaches, I added the cream cheese, I added just a sprinkle of a nudge of sugar on top to just give it that little crispness. I would love for you to come back and learn more about what Alexis wants me to make. It is so much fun to make new things in our new environment where we're shut in our house and we have to use what's in the pantry and the freezer, but we can make absolutely delicious things from whatever you have in your pantry and in your freezer. So thank you. Shh, don't tell my friend I made these because I know she's going to want some, and come back. Bye-bye.